Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Keep It Moving Podcast. I am your host, Novelty, and joining me today is Mike B.
Was that like a disappointing pause?
No.
Or what's that all about?
I was going to say the lovely, and I thought, well, maybe that's too feminine.
Definitely.
And I couldn't figure out anything else to say on the fly. I'm just not one like that.
You could have said handsome. You could have said smart. You could have said intelligent. You could
But
have
I wanted
said
to be
my
honest.
brother. Oh. Okay, I got you. But I'm here. What it do, people?
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Was I loud?
Yes, you were. Let me turn you down a little bit.
Oh, now you're going to turn me down. Every other time it's putting the mic in my mouth.
Yeah, you usually don't do it. But today you on fire. I'm proud of you. You're making me proud. Thank you.
You're welcome, I guess.
Right on.
So how's your week?
My week was good. I actually got out the house this week. Thursday, me and my coworkers decided to take a half day and do some team building, and we went to the Royals game.
Oh, cool.
And we got out there pretty early. The game started at like 1 o'clock or something like that. We got out there around 11:30 to tailgate, and it was a lot of fun. We grilled out, drank some beers and some drinks or whatever.
From my house.
It ain't that close to your house. It's about 20 minutes away.
When they win, I can hear it.
Okay. Okay. I'll let you have that one. I refuse to believe it.
Oh, when they won the World Series,
that's different. That's a huge crowd.
It's not that. I can hear the fireworks.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking you can hear them cheering.
No, I'm not that close. I used to be that close.
That's why I said, okay, they're there, Novelty.
No, I used to be that close, but I can hear the fireworks. So I always know when the Royals win because I can hear the fireworks.
Right on. But we had a good time. But there was this one incident that happened where, for some reason, do girls like to go to every bathroom together?
We go together for, I don't know. I can't even answer the question. Sometimes it depends on where you are. You just feel safer. And that might really be what it's about because we've always been told to do things together.
But have you
even
ever,
as little kids? Uh-huh. But I mean, in my house, we don't go together.
Right. Now that I can understand. But out in public, most of the times you see girls, especially if it's like a club or something like that, they travel in packs to the bathroom, which it could be for safety.
I mean, it could be for safety. I know if somebody's going to the restroom, I might say, you know what, I'm going to go on and run with you.
Now, you've seen Johnny on the Spot or a porta potty.
Oh, yeah, I don't do them.
And how small and confined they are.
Yeah.
And we were waiting in line to go to the bathroom, and I saw
one of those.
2 girls come out of there.
That's nasty.
Is it nasty? I don't know.
I don't go into a Johnny on the Spot on a good day. I mean, it can be a brand new Johnny on the Spot. They just stuck. Nobody's touched it. I still wouldn't go in it. Ugh. But I mean, it's too little for two
people. Yeah,
and now
I thought it was weird.
Maybe they weren't going. But then was it one of the sinks?
They don't know.
The ones with
we brought 2 bottles of sanitizer with us. But now it was one of the newer ones than I've ever seen, where it has like a makeshift urinal as well as the sit down portion. So we were basically.
But it didn't have the little sink in it.
No sink. No. They ain't got no mirrors. There was really no reason for them both to be in there unless they were both using it.
If I went with somebody, I'd go and stand by the Johnny on the Spot while they was in there. I mean, we don't go into the stalls together on the norm.
Yeah. But there was another incident that was just weird to me, because I was standing in line, but then we parked right by the Johnny on the Spots. But 2 of my coworkers, it was 2 guys. They had Johnny on the Spot side by side, but one line, and both of my coworkers were one in each, and they were talking to each other, which that's weird. I don't like people to talk to me in a regular bathroom, so I definitely don't want to be talking to you in a Johnny on the Spot. But they were talking to each other and just talking crap. And then one of my coworkers left. The other one didn't know that he was no longer in the Johnny on the Spot.
Of course, he's still talking.
He's still talking. And he hears a girl outside saying, I don't want to go to the bathroom by myself. And so he steps out of the Johnny on the Spot, reaches to the one next to it, and opens it up saying, you can go with my, my boy. He'll go with, he wasn't in there. It was another girl in there.
Why was the door unlocked?
That's a good question. And why would you invite this girl to? It was all weird. I said people are ridiculous.
Oh my God, that poor little girl. Everything is
Her
just
face
out
was
there.
so red, especially the one that was inside the Johnny on the spot.
Oh my God.
And he just busted open the door. You can go with my friend, and that's not your friend, bro. That's not your friend.
Poor baby.
But we had a really, really good time.
I bet y'all did. Y'all sound like y'all was drunk.
No, we just had some drinks. Now I do have a drunk story regarding that same day, but I'm going to reserve that story. Me and JT, we got to talk. We got to talk about that because he understands drinking. You really don't, even though in your birthday month you do drink a little bit more in July, but other than that, you don't really drink that often.
Anyway,
how was your week?
My week was good. Yesterday, we celebrated my aunt's birthday, and so we did a little family gathering. And my aunt, I had to work yesterday, and then I had my last physical therapy session since my accident. But my two aunts and one aunt's son decided they would start Cinco de Mayo at about 11 o'clock. So
in the morning?
Yeah, they went restaurant hopping and tasting margaritas all day long.
That's what you're supposed to do. I'm sure a lot of restaurants were packed.
By 6 o'clock, they came back to the house, and my little cousin was still on his Cinco de Mayo jump around. I think he called me at about 9:30 and asked me to come pick him up. He was down there in the Crossroads. I guess there's like First Fridays or something.
Yes, and I hate it. Because a lot of restaurants and bars, they cater to it. So even when you have like regular parking lots, they will block a lot of them off and have like beer vendors out there.
Right, that's what
so
was
people
out
can
there.
mingle, so they have more room.
And
I don't have time for that. First of all, I don't want to be around a lot of people. I know I just said I went to a Royals game, but I was still in my own box. So I was confined. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine hiding in a porta potty? But First Friday, because there's so many people and everybody's moving around and it's like drunk people with nowhere to go. So they're bumping into everybody, trying to holler at this person. And I ain't got time.
Well, I'm just going down there to pick him up. But I got so agitated because it's got to be a good 3,000-4,000 people down there. Like you said, all the parking lots and everything were blocked off. They had tents. They had music going. Right. They had everything going out there.
It's a good time.
It's a good time. I mean,
not for me. If you are, for people.
If you like being out, like drinking, like having a good time, like partying, it is definitely a place to go. But my problem with it is it's in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. There is, first of all, people living down there. So people have lofts and studio apartments and things like that all down there. So, and then there's, of course, it's the regular nightlife because the Garth Brooks concert was also last night on top of this First Fridays thing.
Yeah, because it's busy just because it's First Friday.
It was so
and
many
it's
people.
Cinco de Mayo, so that's an extra crowd. It's Garth Brooks, so that's an extra crowd.
So, and you got all of these people on top of traffic. Now, granted, we don't have New York traffic, but we might as well have on
those days, yeah.
Because people, the traffic's trying to go. These people trying to get to their homes and their apartments. They want to go home for the day. They can't go nowhere because as soon as the light turns green, you can't turn anywhere because you have to wait for the traffic.
Yeah, a crowd of people. Yeah,
to who's walking by to pass. Then by the time they pass, the light is red. You can't go anywhere. If anything, one car passes each time the light turns.
Right.
You bumper to bumper. You going down the street not even 2 miles an hour. And then people are getting frustrated. You can see drivers getting frustrated with pedestrians because they're in the way. And so they start driving erratically and crazy. Drunk pedestrians.
Right.
And people trying to get home don't mix. Drivers trying to get home and drunk pedestrians don't mix. They have got to do something about the foot traffic down there. It's kind of like the plaza, but the plaza, you can drive around the plaza. It's 4 blocks.
Right.
It ain't that it's not easy to drive around downtown. And especially if you live there. Nobody lives in the plaza. They live outside of the plaza.
Right.
But to live in the middle of downtown, you can't go to the grocery store. You can't do nothing.
I would move. Because the fact that it's so busy, especially like Friday, Saturday night, just even dealing with that little bit of people, I wouldn't want to do it. That's why I couldn't live in New York.
I went to go pick my cousin up. It took me all of 5 minutes to get from where I was to that area. He told me he was at 18th and McGee. I go to 18th and McGee. I call, we not there anymore.
Oh, no. You know what?
Every part of me, but he was
drunk
what? And I knew he had to get home. So he's like, we at 18th and Cherry. So I go to 18th and Cherry. Now, 18th and Cherry is 2 blocks away from 18th and McGee. Literally 2 blocks. But I couldn't go down McGee or got down 18th Street because of it was so many people just in the middle of the street. I couldn't go down, so I had to go around. It took me 30 minutes to get 2 blocks away. And then when I got to 18th and Cherry, they was like, oh no, we on 17th and Cherry.
No, you know what? I promise you, I would have said, you might as well, you come to me. That's when you come to me.
I was facing that direction. I'm like, okay, I'm driving up the street. I'll be there in like 2 seconds. Y'all just come on. Get there. Okay, I don't see you. Where are you? Where are you? And finally, we realized they was where they said they were in the first place.
18th and McGee.
18th and Cherry.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, and so the girl I was talking to, she was like, why don't you just make a U-turn? It's cars on both sides. You can't make a U-turn.
You should have hung up on her.
There's traffic. She made me so mad. I didn't hang up on her. I just said, look, y'all start walking up the street. And luckily, I was able to back down this street, and I didn't have to go anywhere else. Nobody was coming up the street, so I just backed down the street and met him in the middle.
And you didn't cuss out?
I got his butt in the car. He was drunk. If I cussed him out, he wouldn't have remembered.
It don't matter. You would have got it off your chest. You sober. You're the one with the issue.
Like, oh my God, never again. I told him next time you call Uber.
Right.
Because
they would have had, I'm sure Uber made a lot of money, last night. And plus, for First Fridays and events like that, they have a surcharge, so their prices go up.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They made a killing, I'm sure.
You need to call an Uber because this is ridiculous.
Or he could have at least made it somewhere. He's in walking distance to the outskirts of where everybody is. So he could have come somewhere where it's easily accessible to you.
Yeah, that would have been the nice thing to do, but he was so polluted he wouldn't have been able to if he wanted to. Words, learning, everything. I was just like,
I hate I don't hate because I don't do it, but I don't like when people are outside of their house, like at a club or a bar, and you are unintelligible. Like you just drink until you can't drink anymore. Like
right,
for
that's
what?
Crazy to me.
And then people have to babysit and take care of you. I had to deal with that this week. I don't have time for that. That's one thing. I never want to lose my faculties. I need to know everything that's going on around me and be, alert enough to be able to whoop some ass if need be, but also be able to help somebody if I need to.
Right.
Like I have to know what's going on, and I don't understand people who could be in a bar and drink and drink and drink until you don't remember your name. You don't remember where you live, and people are treating you like a baby.
On
a Wednesday or a Tuesday.
But he did not. His words were slurring. I'm like, dude, just get in the car. And then, of course, we get him to the house, and he just starts cussing. And my auntie cusses him out, telling him to stop cussing. I'm just like, really? But it was, we had a good Cinco de Mayo. We did have fun.
Aside from that, right on. I didn't do anything for Cinco de Mayo. But listen to my neighbors play all their Cinco de Mayo music. I think they were having a party too, because I heard a lot of foot traffic outside my apartment door. But I refused to open it up because I'm like, I ain't about to tease myself. I'm chilling, so I just stayed at the house.
I started to come by and bug you. It's like, but I was too sleepy, so I went home.
Right on.
Anyway, so who is our Bae of the Week?
This week for Black Achievements and Excellence, we're giving it to Raven Osborne, 18-year-old from Gary, Indiana. May 5th, she graduated from college.
Woohoo!
And on May 22nd, she will be graduating from high school.
What?
You heard me. She graduated from college 2 weeks before graduating from high school. So she's been busting her ass. And I have to give a special shout out to the school that she went to. It's 21st Century Charter High School in Gary, Indiana, because they require their students to take college courses. And, they use state funding to pay for it, for the college courses, the tuition, as well as transportation to the college, because you have to take those.
She got a free college education.
Hey,
now I like
took
that
advantage
kind
of it. And, like I said, she graduated yesterday, matter of fact. And on the 22nd, she's going to be graduating from High school.
And this is the state of Indiana.
Okay.
That's
impressive.
Need to start looking at that. That's very impressive.
And they have 43 graduates this year, and all of the 100% graduation rate. 5 of those graduates are graduating with their associates, and she's going to be graduating with the full degree.
Wow!
I'm like, that I was impressed when I read this.
That's beautiful. Even good for the ones graduating with their associates
exactly.
as well. Good job.
And even the rest of them that are graduating, 100% graduation rate.
Good job.
So shout out to Raven Osborne, again, 18-year-olds from Gary, Indiana, but also shout out to all of her classmates because they are doing the thing too.
Good job. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Unfortunately, we have to talk about the government. So let's make this real quick here, or at least the parts we can make quick. So Ben Carson said that homeless shelters shouldn't be comfortable settings or else people might just stay in them. Trump asked why was there a civil war and why could that one not have been worked out? And the Kushner family offers people of Beijing U.S. immigration visa cards for a $500,000 investment.
So all you got to do is pay your money, and you can get it.
As long as you're from Beijing, because if you're from one of the 7 countries, then no. If you're from Syria, definitely no.
I got a feeling that the price is negotiable. The location is negotiable when it comes to anything surrounding that administration.
Well, then the big thing that happened Friday.
Was it Friday?
It was Friday. Was it Friday?
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo? We were celebrating Cinco de Mayo.
It couldn't have been. It had to be Thursday.
Okay. People were still happy.
No.
I think it was Thursday. What are you talking about?
What?
First
It don't matter.
Before you tell me.
You know what I'm talking about. It was either Thursday or Friday. It don't matter which day it happened.
Yeah.
The House has officially repealed Obamacare. And their bill is interesting. Now, at this point, we probably know more than half of them about their own bill because a lot of them went in to vote and hadn't even read it, knew nothing about it.
Yeah, didn't care to read it.
So I would suggest, especially Republicans, I say this to all of our Republican listeners, probably ain't none out there.
Yeah, because y'all know how we feel about y'all people.
But you all may want to really sit down and look at the congressmen who voted for this bill. Because like I said, half of them don't even know what's in it. They just voted. But basically, the refundable tax credits that are, this bill is providing refundable tax credits based on a person's age and income. It allows states to waive some protections for those with pre-existing conditions, lets insurers charge higher rates to older consumers, and levies a 30% surcharge on premiums for those who let their coverage lapse. So, hey, if you late paying your bill by a couple of days, you can get a 30% surcharge charged to your insurance. Just letting you know. It eliminates the enhanced federal match for Medicare expansion starting in 2020. Now, states like Missouri, I don't know if Kansas is one, but I'm pretty sure they are. But definitely states like Missouri, they didn't take the Medicaid money that the federal government offered.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
I thought you mentioned before that both Kansas and Missouri.
I'm thinking Kansas did too, but I know Missouri did. But those states that didn't accept the money, it really won't affect their program per se because they're not using the money. They never had it. The government wouldn't take it. But for those states that did accept that money, they're getting ready to lose all of that Medicare money or Medicaid money. So that is a huge loss to people on Medicaid. It curtails federal support for the entire Medicaid program. It lifts the tax that Obamacare or the ACA had imposed on wealthy insurers and companies. Young adults up to the age of 26 get to stay on their parents' insurance, but 24 million fewer people will have coverage by 2026.
And they were okay with that.
Well, when you delve deeper into this, there's some things you should probably know. Okay, Obamacare was designed so that younger policy holders would basically subsidize the older ones. So kind of like think about when you look at your check and you see that big old FICA coming out, that's your Social Security tax, your unemployment tax, your Medicare tax. All of that's coming out of your check now.
Right.
You're paying that now. So when you get older, it'll be there. But the whole thing is you don't pay It's not like they take that money and put it in an account for you. They take that money and they use that money to cover the older people. And so when you get old, the young people will be covering you. That's how Social Security works. That's how Medicare works.
Okay.
It comes out of everybody's check. It takes care of the older people. And then when you get older, the younger people will take care of you. That's the whole point of all of it.
Okay.
Well, when they don't touch it. So that was basically what Obamacare was. You as a young person. Now, I know in my 20s, I didn't have need for medical care. I went and saw one doctor once a year, and that was my gynecologist. And the only reason I did that is because my mother constantly drilled into me the importance of that, because uterine cancer runs in my family.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
It's very important for me to catch it early, to always go. So that's the only doctor I ever saw. I mean, for years, my doctor would say, "Do you have a PCP yet?" And I'd look at her and say, "Nope, you're it." And she would just laugh and like,
primary
no.
care physician.
Right.
I'm like,
I'm sorry.
Drugs?
Primary care physician.
Wait a minute. It's something you want to tell us about.
No. So I didn't have a primary doctor. I had my gynecologist. She has all my records, all of that. That's just the way it had been done up until I hit 40. When I hit 41, that's when I started having the asthma problems.
Oh, okay.
And my asthma kicked in. And I had to have a doctor at that point. So now I'm 40, and now I have a new health issue. And granted, it's just asthma. My meds cost $260 a month. Without any kind of insurance, I'd have to pay that.
Oh, so it's not $260 out of pocket. It's
not right now for me. Now, next year it could be. But right now for me, it's $10.
Okay, right on.
Okay. But without health insurance and coverage, it would cost me $260 a month. That's a car payment. So as you get older, you need health care. Normally, when you're in your 20s, you don't need that health care. And that's fine.
Because, you got your immune system is doing what it's supposed to do.
Everything working.
You're working out or out active or whatever. So
everything's working. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I could do 48-hour days with no problem. You asked me to do a 16-hour day, and I'm looking at you like, really?
Don't come at me with 9 hours. Not today, Satan.
I'm like, and when I say I was doing 48-hour days, I'm just saying I was staying up 48 hours straight.
Right.
At about hour 16 now, I'm like, y'all, I got to go.
Hour 16 ain't
sleepy.
even an option for me.
I need some closure here. So as you age, things change. That's what Obamacare meant, was for the young people to take care of the older people. This is kind of what they do over in Japan. The young people take care of the older people.
Okay.
Anyway, so but this bill allows the insurers to charge older people more,
which doesn't make any sense.
Right, because especially they're on a fixed income.
And but with Congress being older people, you would think they would look out for older people.
No, they don't.
I know they don't care about
rich people. Don't care about older people. So 20 to 29-year-olds would save about $700 to $4,000 a year, because they either don't have to take insurance at all, or they'll get tax credits. They'll get a tax credit of up to $2,000 if they have insurance. Okay, as long as their income doesn't exceed $215,000
a year.
Whereas in Obamacare, they only got a subsidy of $103. So again, the younger people were supposed to take care of the older people. Under Obamacare, an enrollee who made $47,500 is no longer eligible for the premium subsidy. So now the GOP, because they made so much, they didn't get that tax credit.
That I feel like that makes sense.
Okay, but under this new plan, they can make up to $75,000 and still claim that tax credit.
But it's also still based on their age.
That's just 20 to 29.
20 to 29. Okay. Can you talk to me about some people around our age?
Hold on. I got a good breakdown.
You're getting me pissed off at the young people.
I got a good breakdown of this.
Okay.
Now, Obamacare requires insurers to provide a lot of different healthcare coverages or benefits, like maternity, mental health, prescription drugs, substance abuse. This new bill allows for the insurance companies to make smaller plans and not provide all of that. And now the logic behind it is, well, if you're 60 years old, you don't need maternity leave in your plan.
Okay.
I would hope not, but nowadays you never know.
You never know, because I hear they be getting down and dirty in the nursing home.
Maternity, they can do whatever they want to, but so it does cause a problem. And I can kind of understand that. However, I can kind of understand making plans more about the person. So if I need in my plan maternity leave, it can be in mine, but it doesn't have to be in yours, but still require everybody to have health coverage.
Okay.
I mean, that might be a way to correct Obamacare and make the adjustments that Obamacare needs. It might be a way, because that makes sense to me. But again, I don't know. I'd have to see all the numbers and all of that to see how it all basically plays out. Taxes. Under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, single taxpayers with incomes of $200,000 and couples making more than $250,000 annually have to pay an additional 0.9% Medicare payroll tax. And if they have investments, they have to pay 3.8% on their investments if they hit that $200,000 single, $250,000 couple mark. That's under Obamacare. Obamacare also provided those with incomes of under $30,000 with huge subsidies to lower their deductibles and out-of-pocket costs. So anybody under $30,000, they consider poor people.
Okay.
But folks making $20,000 a year will take the biggest hit. Or I'm sorry, anybody under $20,000, they consider poor people. Folks making $20,000 a year are going to take the biggest hit under the new bill.
Okay.
Because they will only get a $2,000 credit instead of the $3,225 that they got under Obamacare. And then the 60-year-olds are really going to get hit, because they'll only get $4,000 instead of the $99,000 they were getting.
$99,000
or $9,900.
Okay, I'm like, wait. So everything was free?
Yeah, no, $9,900. I'm sorry, but so. The people getting hit the hardest are the
Poor
older people and the poor people.
Mm.
The older people are the people who really need this.
Right.
And the poor people are the people who need it and can't afford it.
Right.
Okay. This bill allows for you to put more money in your health savings account. Now, I have a health savings account, and I, put aside a little money to pay my specialist, because my insurance won't pay for my specialist.
Okay.
So I do put a little bit of money in there to pay my specialist. But the problem is, that's all I can do with it. When you get a health savings account, it's supposed to be used for health stuff.
Yeah, right.
That means you can go to even the drugstore and get your over-the-counter drugs.
Your prescriptions,
Nope.
You can't get prescriptions?
You can get your prescriptions.
Yeah, and like eyeglass, for my contact solution, you can get stuff like that.
Depending on who your insurance company is.
Okay, my insurance, they allow
yours
that.
Yours may. Mine doesn't. Mine allows me to go get Band-Aids, but don't allow me to get Tylenol.
Okay.
So depending on the company.
You can abuse Tylenol, so that's a problem.
Really? Okay, if you abusing Tylenol, I'm sorry. I guess you can abuse Band-Aids too, ask Nelly. Anyway, but my point is, they control what you can spend it on. So you got your health savings account, which you should be able to spend on health stuff. They're controlling what you can spend it on. If you don't spend it by the end of the year, you lose it.
Right.
So if I sock away money at the end of the year and nothing happens, it's gone.
Which that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
You should be able to roll it over. So
that's one thing. This bill will allow you to put more in an HSA.
But why would you want to put more in? Now can you roll it over?
Don't know.
Okay. I'm like, why put more in with the possibility of losing more? But anyway.
Obamacare expanded Medicaid to cover adults who earned up to $16,400 a year. Trump Care will end it ends what the federal government was doing for Medicaid. And I'm sorry, Obama expanded Medicaid, not Medicare, Medicaid. And Trump Care is ending all of that. Let's see, 50 and 60-year-olds benefited from Obamacare because insurance companies could only charge them 3 times more than they charged younger people. Now, this new bill allows them to charge a 2-to-5 ratio, which means their premiums go up to 22% or nearly $18,000 a year. And those 50 years old would go up 13% with an annual premium of $12,800 a year. Now, if my mama didn't have the job she had and have the retirement and pension and insurance that comes with her pension now, I know good and well she couldn't pay $12,800 a month a year for insurance. And I wouldn't be able to help her.
Because you're trying to figure out
my own insurance, right?
Yeah. You bottom line is you have to try. Who is this supposed to benefit? Who is this supposed to benefit? Because when Obamacare was basically taxing the rich in order to help kind of subsidize some of this stuff, it seems like it's the other way around now. The poor people and the older people are being punished, and the rich are getting tax breaks under this new bill. So who were they thinking? You don't have all these many rich people. You got a lot of poor people. You got a lot of old people, but you don't have that many rich people. So it doesn't make sense to construct a bill as big as healthcare. Well, it does make sense when you're rich and you're white.
There you go.
And you give two shits about people.
Anybody else. Lastly, pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, that was a big thing people have been talking about.
Remember Trump? We're not going to touch pre-existing conditions. That was his promise. States could allow insurers to charge higher premiums to those with pre-existing conditions who let their coverage lapse. These states would have to set up high-risk pools or other types of programs to help lower costs for insuring these folks. But the experts right now are saying the $138 billion that they're supposedly setting aside for pre-existing conditions through 2026 is nowhere near enough. And when they say pre-existing conditions, that's asthma. I have a pre-existing condition.
Right.
Pregnancy is a pre-existing condition. Postpartum depression is a pre-existing condition. I'm trying to figure that one out.
I heard they added a lot of other situations to pre-existing conditions that don't really make sense.
Now, this also doesn't discuss this article in particular didn't discuss a few other things that I had read about. They are also taking away it's kind of like a cap on what your employer can charge you for insurance.
Uh-huh.
So you get insurance through your employment. They can only charge so much. Deductibles can only be so high because it goes through your employer.
Right.
This bill is removing that cap. So not only are Obamacare people getting ready to suffer, but so are people who have jobs, private insurance through their jobs. Their rates could soar. Pre-existing conditions talked about everything from mental illness to, like I said, postpartum depression.
Like substance abuse.
Are you freaking kidding me? Right, the substance abuse. It was ridiculous.
Somebody was saying a pre-existing condition was like a C-section. It's like, what is that? Like, how did this make the list?
Because pregnancy that's how it makes it. Anything that's has remotely to do with pregnancy is a pre-existing condition. Now, this also doesn't talk about one of the things that Obamacare did. Everybody had to have insurance, and no insurers you couldn't drop somebody. You had to insure everybody. Now, if insurers do not have to insure everybody, that means, remember back in the day when cancer patients were talking about how their illness was costing them so much, they were losing their houses,
right?
They were losing their cars, they were homeless,
and
all because of this. And a lot of them were being knocked off. What would happen is they would hit a certain point with their insurance and it would cap. And they would say, okay, you costing us too much. We got to let you go. And now because they had a pre-existing condition, nobody else would pick them up.
Right.
Now that brings this all right back into play. Everything that Obamacare fixed is back into play. A lot of worse things were added to it. And all the GOP basically says is,
tough titty.
Hey, you got to figure it out. If you want health care, you can get it. One guy even had the nerve to say nobody died from not having health care that wanted it.
That has nothing to do with being able to afford it. They
that
may
has
want
nothing
it
to do with truth,
and it's a lie. Yeah. But again, that's what they deal with. They deal in lies. They don't care, and we're not making them care. We're not forcing them to care. And I hate this. I hate it.
Well,
every damn day, turn on the TV and some more ignorance spewing from the White House
what it is.
and this administration and this Republican Congress and that bullshit. The one good thing that I've heard, and I don't even know if this is true, is that the Senate is like, we're not dealing with this bullshit. And they're working on people. They're working on their own farm.
That's what they're saying. The Senate said this bill is not going through them. They are getting ready to put together their own. Yeah. But they still have they got to get it passed. They got the votes to get it passed. But at the end, when the bill passed, the Democrats saying, "Hey, goodbye." Mm-hmm. And a lot of people had a problem with it until the news. This was just Thursday or Friday this week.
Oh, the Democrats was because they know the Republican Party. Y'all just signed.
Every senator that voted, papers. They were singing that song. You out. You're not getting voted in. And it's funny because people had a problem with it, but the news people who report the news rewound a few years to when Obamacare went in. And the Republicans sang the exact same song to the Democrats who voted Obamacare in. And it's funny that when they did it, all of those Democrats either retired or didn't get voted back in. It's really funny. So now here we are, flip side. And now, no matter how much crap and rhetoric they've spit, people are finally starting to understand, oh, wait a minute, Obamacare, ACA, same thing. That's my health care coverage. Whoa. Put the brakes on this. Obamacare is more popular now than it has ever been.
Right.
It's like 60-something% of this country want to hold on to this bill. So now I'm with the Democrats. I'm like, okay, so really, are we getting ready to get rid of all of these Republicans that just voted this in? I hope so.
Oh, I hope so as well.
I really hope so.
But then that's putting too much faith in the American people, and they let me down already.
It's too much putting faith in American Republicans because only they can make this change. Well, no, I take that back. You're right. Because those American people that didn't get their butts out and vote.
Yeah, they could have made the difference.
I'd like to put some faith in them because they can make the difference. They are the difference. That's the problem. They are the difference. Also, remember a few weeks ago we talked about Congress working on a bill that taking away overtime pay and giving you comp time. Yeah. That got passed.
I saw that.
And then we had a bill, 400 Years of African American History Commission Act. Now, the first part of this bill just kind of agitated me just because of the way it read. This bill establishes the 400 Years of African American History Commissions to develop and carry out activities throughout the United States to commemorate the 400th anniversary.
Hey, slow down.
Of the arrival of Africans in the English colonies at Point Comfort, Virginia. Really, the arrival?
That's what you got a problem with.
Yeah, because I don't think we arrived.
Well, when you show up someplace, whether it's by force or by choice.
I think it was another word for that. It was not the arrival.
It was the great kidnapping.
The dragging while kicking and screaming.
The dragging, that works too.
But anyway, this commission must plan programs to acknowledge the impact that slavery and laws that enforced racial discrimination had on the United States, encourage civic, patriotic, historical, education, artistic, religious, and economic organizations to organize and participate in anniversary activities, assist states, localities, and nonprofit organizations to further the commemoration, and coordinate for the public scholarly research on the arrival, again that word, of Africans in the United States and their contributions to this country. The commission may provide grants to the communities and nonprofit organizations for development of programs, grants to research and scholarly organizations to research, publish, and distribute information relating to the arrival of Africans in the United States, technical assistance to states, localities, and nonprofit organizations to further the commemoration.
Is this like a soft form of reparations?
This is a freaking memorial. I mean, some kind of just, don't get me wrong, it's better than nothing. But Can we commemorate in a history book, in an American history book? Mm-hmm. Can we tell the truth of what happened instead of trying to whitewash slavery as immigration? You know, when you write this, but yet and still you allow books in public schools that don't tell the truth, it's a bunch of BS.
Right.
It's kind of like you just trying to, let's pacify the black people right here. And that's the way I feel, especially with this arrival word. Let's pacify black people real quick. And we're going to talk about African-American history. But yet, when we teach it in schools,
it probably won't even it's going to be the Ben Carson's version of slavery or in African-American history versus
whatever
the truth.
It is, it passed. So,
well, look who voted. Mm-hmm. Did they show the breakdown of Republicans versus Democrats that voted for this?
They will. If you go look, I didn't look at it,
okay.
But yeah, if you go look,
you were over it.
I saw Arrival and I was just done. That's when I was over it. I'm like, that's not the word.
We're here. Hey, what can we do?
I mean, it's Arrival. Oh, she arrived. She was happy.
Yeah,
we wasn't happy.
It's like a Coming to America. And once he made it to New York, I am so happy to be here.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't us.
It wasn't that. Yeah.
So as usual, just remember you got to get out and vote. Midterms are coming up. We are talking about this because we are a little over 100 days in, and I swear it feels like we 400 years in.
Yeah, it's draining. It's so much happening week after week, day after day, with this administration, and it's so much to keep track of. I feel like it's done intentionally. I mean, and they do so much to distract us in order for us not to focus on what's really going on in the background. Because while since the last time we talked to you guys, I forgot Comey. He testified or whatever to the.
He's talking about it made him nauseous. He can kiss.
Yeah, about the whole Hillary and the email situation. He knew exactly what the hell kind of impact that would have on the election, and now you feel nauseous.
But wait, I mean, what bothers me about that is he felt that was so imperative to tell the American people, but it wasn't imperative to let the American people know that Trump was involved with Russia.
Yes. And was under investigation, or they were investigating Russia surrounding Trump.
So, I mean, he had an investigation going on about both candidates and chose one to tell.
Which is why he still has a job right now.
Because he chose that one.
Yes.
Because technically, everything he did was against department policy.
Right.
He should not have a job. And honestly, I call for his resignation. I really do. He needs to go. Because I don't trust him heading up the FBI anymore.
Auntie Maxine already told us that he has no credibility.
Absolutely.
After that old confidential meeting they all had about, what was it about Russia? I don't remember what it was about.
Yeah, I think so.
But, he briefed them on something, Congress on something, and she came out, she was pissed off, probably wanted to spill all the beans, but she couldn't. All she said was, he no longer has any credibility. And then I don't see why we're still dragging our feet on this whole Russia situation, allowing the Republican Party and Trump and his minions to continue to push bills, push executive orders, and ruin people's lives.
He and his family have effectively used the White House to make money.
Yes.
What's this little girl, Ivanka?
She's daughter.
Pushing her. They pushing the White House
is pushing
her book.
Yes.
Okay, so you know what? As far as I'm concerned, they have broken all ethics laws, all of them. This every bill that he puts out benefits him.
Right.
I call for impeachment.
Most of the people here are calling for impeachment.
There's only 2 people here.
I'm saying in America, most of the people in America are calling for impeachment, which is why we have so many high turnouts when it comes to protesting the shit that he's spewing, the shit that he's doing.
Needs to go.
But he has the backing of both houses of Congress.
He's got the backing of old rich white men.
Yes. And so,
all right, y'all know what hey, I can only say this. You know what you got to do. It's coming up. They will start campaigning here in about 3 or 4 months. You know what you need to do.
I'm ready.
Okay, so moving on, getting out of that world. In Texas, let's move to Texas and talk about young Jordan Edwards, 15 years old, shot by a cop. he and his friends were leaving the party because it was getting a little too rowdy, and driving away from the cops, and the cops shot
into the car.
Killed him.
Right. And then
15-year-old boy.
I heard the police chief came out saying that the car was backing up towards them, and they felt threatened.
Yeah, initially, he was coming at us. We felt threatened. He had, that he had the right. And then when the video surfaced,
right,
the story changed.
And I think it was the officer who shot his body cam video. From what I understand, it was his video that they watched, or it could have been even the dash cam.
I don't know,
but the chief saw it and almost immediately fired, the guy.
So my question is, before the chief made that statement, why
didn't he watch the video first? Yeah.
That makes me pause. Why didn't you check that video? I understand the tendency to protect your own. It's kind of like a mother bear. I think
that's what it is.
I understand the tendency to protect your own.
That blue code is silent.
Especially, I understand the tendency when you're in a position where you are faced with life and death. Don't get me wrong. I've got family members that are cops. I like cops. But if you don't need to be there, I do not want you in that position. If you don't like people and your duty, you don't feel your duty is really to serve and protect, then you don't need to be there. If you are some ex-kid who used to be bullied and you just found a way to get your revenge on the world, this is not how you do it.
This is how a lot of them do it, though.
But those people don't need to be there.
I definitely agree with you.
I don't understand.
Most of us do.
Why this chief decided to look at the video after he made his statement. I question that. That's my only question.
It's a problem. And
you should have looked at that video first.
When he first came out, he could have said, okay, this is what we're hearing happen, but we're still investigating the whole situation. We will get back, once we know further.
If you had to make an immediate statement.
Yeah, give us your patience and time. Let us investigate. Don't get all rowdy or whatever.
And to be truthfully honest, in that case, I don't even think he needed to say anything. A PR representative should have came out and said, this is under investigation. The chief of police will speak with you as soon as he knows something.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That way, you're not putting out a bunch of misinformation. This is not a race of who can tell the story the fastest. This is a race to get to the truth. Let's talk about truth. There are some things, we can do marketing and publicity around a new Star Wars movie, around a new Marvel comic coming out, but do not do it around people's lives.
Right.
Don't play around, because then it does create a situation where it looks like the police against the black people, or the police against people of color, when in actuality, a lot of times that's not the case. But in this case, a lie was told to the chief of police, and the chief didn't bother to check his source before he made his statement. And then as soon as he checked his source, he fired him. He didn't try to hide it. He didn't try to cover it up. He did go ahead and say, okay, we got to let you go. And he said, okay, we made a mistake. But he should have checked before he made his statement.
Right.
Had he just taken 2 hours?
However long
to watch the video before he made his statement, then the misinformation would have never come out.
And then the people were saying, the firing, that isn't enough. We want more, because now that you fired him, you saw the video, you saw he lied, he did something. He was wrong. He murdered that boy. And so he needs to be put up on charges. And recently
he was arrested and charged with murder.
Yes.
So this is one of the first, I believe, that has actually been charged.
You think so?
I think so.
Now, I know it's been quite a few, not charged with murder, quite a few that have been, but they've been acquitted by the grand jury.
Right, by the grand jury. Okay. They haven't gone to
officially
trial.
Charged. And then, but, even though he's been charged with murder under this administration and with the Department of Justice being ran by Sessions, you never know how this is going to turn out. He might, you know what? I don't even want to speculate, because I hate that guy too. And I know you're not supposed to hate, but I don't give 2 shits about none of the. I'll stop.
Okay.
I'm just hoping that justice is served. I mean, we had the whole situation with Alton Sterling. That was the Department of Justice came out recently saying that
no prosecution,
no federal charges are going to be,
Are you kidding me?
And it's, to us, it seems like a clear-cut case. But they were saying it wasn't enough evidence to charge the officers.
Who's the who was the guy that got shot in the back running from the cop, and the cop planted the taser?
Walter Scott.
Walter Scott. He's this guy. The policeman that shot him is now testifying guilty.
Pleading guilty.
Yes.
I'm sure there's some type of deal on the table.
Of course it is. You know it is. But I it just kind of makes you wonder what happened that he changed his plea.
That's the deal. Because I don't think
what's the deal?
Yeah, the deal is probably what changed. Got him to change his mind, because it's a clear cut case of you shooting this man who's running away from you in the back. Then we see somebody else planting a taser or trying to plant a gun somewhere and frame this guy. So we saw all of this on tape. Now there has been other clear video, and police officers have gotten off. In my opinion, this Alton Sterling situation, the Eric Garner situation, where we see the police choke him out for selling fucking cigarettes, and he gets off.
Cigarettes.
And then how do you have faith in this the department?
It's very difficult. It is very difficult to have faith when you black.
Yeah. Now I know
about white
the Caucasian community, they will cuss police out. They will push and punch police officers.
Dylan Roof made it to the jail. Dylan Roof made it to trial. Dylan Roof right now is sitting waiting on his day of execution.
They sentenced him to death? I thought it was life in prison.
No, death.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
He got sentenced to death. So he is waiting now. But guess what? He's alive waiting.
I thought he signed a plea.
No, they sentenced him to death.
Okay.
They sentenced him to death.
Okay.
Whereas how many black men, the Dallas shooter that they said was black,
the one they sent that robotic bomb
to kill,
and it's like that story was so strange. Like
the guy from Kansas City who was killing in. I can't remember where he did his.
Come to the mic.
I'm trying to think. He killed police officers, had him around a convenience store or something. I cannot remember this guy. I remember the guy was from Kansas City. Okay. This was here within the last couple of years. I want to say it started with a B. And then I keep thinking Baton Rouge, but I don't know if it was Louisiana or not. But, okay. Anyway, needless to say, he's dead. Black people seem to die,
right,
when they in these altercations, but white people always make it to the jail
because evidently white police officers know how to handle white people, and they don't feel threatened, even when they're punching them in the face, pushing them down, and coming at them, whether they're holding a weapon or not. They don't feel the threat, and all we have to do is show. All we have to do is be there, and they feel the threat.
Guy from Tulsa with his hands in the air, he's dead. Yeah. His hands was in the air. So anyway, it's just a sad day. My hearts and condolences do go out to the Edwards family.
Yeah.
Along with, of course, everybody else's.
All the other losses that we've suffered as a community.
So anyway, Miley Cyrus, you got something to tell me about Miley Cyrus? What is she doing now?
On a lighter note.
Is she a lighter note?
Yeah, definitely. After that, talking about Trump and his bullshit, and then, the police and their bullshit, Miley don't seem so bad right now. But she got, black people up in an uproar after she made a statement to a magazine saying how that she said that's what pushed me out of the hip hop scene a little bit, because it was too much Lamborghini, got my Rolex, got a girl on my COCK, my penis. And, I'm so not that. Like, she's over that. And it's like, we just saw you.
She was just on a wrecking ball half naked. Sticking her tongue out, doing porn shows dang on near.
Twerking on any and everybody. They used to say, white people were acting as if Miley Cyrus invented twerking. It was like she gave them the A-OK to twerk.
And now all of them are trying to twerk.
And now she has an issue because she used, all of that whole persona, trap music.
To jump herself off.
Yeah, she put a CD out. She was
And now
with
she
Mike
got,
Will made it. She got all these black girls on stage dance with her and twerking or whatever. These videos that's like trap music. And now all of a sudden, she's over that. Like
I'm so over her.
And so I can understand when people were saying how it's like she appropriated hip hop culture in order to get a check, and then advance her career. And now she's done. Maybe we don't pay enough anymore. Maybe we're not. Who's checking for Miley Cyrus right now?
Ain't me.
Maybe she's going back. Maybe she's going back to her roots, and she wants to go back from Miley Cyrus to Hannah Montana.
And I liked Hannah Montana. I really did.
Going back to country, going back to her old pop music or whatever, and where she's safe.
Take her ass on.
Maybe she's off the drugs or what. Maybe she was on drugs and having a moment when she was dealing with black folk. And we didn't care. It's like
Bye Miley.
White girl on drug. We're used to that. Twerk, Miley, twerk. We don't care. You didn't have a booty to twerk anyway. But that's not the issue right now.
Bye Miley.
So I can understand people feeling some type of way at her comments.
I ain't feeling no type of way. She can go her little ass right back where the hell she came from.
That sounds a little personal. You feel some type of way about Miley?
I feel some type of way about somebody coming in and all of a sudden and using our music to get ahead and then making a statement like that. Shoot, she was nastier than half of the.
Yeah,
I've seen rap artists that are cleaner than her.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, they make their statements, but they ain't outside twerking all the time.
And got a giant penis on the stage with you. Really? Like, what is that all about? I don't know. Maybe she's gonna keep the penis.
Did she kiss somebody on stage, or was just?
I know she was twerking on Robin Thicke.
I know she was twerking on Robin Thicke.
I don't know who
when he was
kissed.
Dressed like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
But bye, Miley. You can go on and back to your little corner. We don't care.
Yeah, and I probably won't think anything else about you after this conversation.
So, okay, remember, I think maybe it was a year ago now, Martin Blackwell, he came home, he was a trucker, came home, lived with his girlfriend, saw his girlfriend's, I guess, child and her child's boyfriend, the two dudes in the bed.
Oh, the one who burned high water? Yeah.
Well,
I didn't remember that name.
Just as a follow-up,
yes.
He got 40 years in prison for throwing the water on the gay couple.
Oh, well, hey, you can't, they say you can't just attack people like that and get away with it. It's frowned upon. Because definitely that was a hate crime.
Oh, definitely.
So, hey,
definitely.
You got to ask a couple more questions.
He's sitting there crying. You should have been crying when you did that.
And now he's probably going to be one of the, a member of that community. Yeah. So, whether he wants to or not.
Lord.
Bubba don't ask questions.
God forgive us. Anyway, okay, so Facebook poll question. Kind of has a little bit to do with what we talked about. Let's talk back, rewind a little back to that stupid approved bill that I'm having an issue with right now, the slavery one.
Okay.
So should white people apologize and be held responsible for slavery now in this day and age? Not back then.
Me personally, an apology wouldn't do anything to or for me from a white person. Now, I would have more respect for a white person who changes their ideology and changes their thought process and understands and embraces our culture and our people and not look at us as the thugs and trouble and, those people who sympathize with our movement. I would have more respect. Apology?
See, I don't think white people of today have anything to apologize for. They didn't do it. Period.
Yes, and now, but some white people still believe.
Well, now hold on. Let me finish. They didn't do it.
If you ask Trump, I'm sure he in the back of his mind, he's
his
okay.
Civil War comments, he had to be okay.
He's okay with slavery.
But no, they didn't do it. So I didn't do my mama. She could have committed all kind of sins. I didn't do it. I don't want to be held responsible for them. I sure don't want to be held responsible for the sins of my forefathers. Now understand, I had white people in my family, so they, of course, had slaves. I know for fact they had slaves. They had slaves. I've seen the records. So I don't want to be held responsible for them either. I don't hold not one white person alive responsible for anything that happened 400 years ago. However, what I do hold you responsible for is what is happening now. When you sit there and you allow the systematic racism to continue, the systematic slavery, because that's what it is, to continue, whether it be going to a 9 to 5 or whether it be being thrown in prison,
private prisons.
Right. When you allow those things to stay in place, I have a problem with you. Do I want an apology? No, I want you to either stop or get the hell out of my way. That's all it is to it. I don't want an apology. I want my reparations, but I don't want an apology. And I don't hold you responsible for what people did 400 years ago, but I do hold you responsible for everything you're doing right now.
Right.
Or everything you're not doing.
Yeah, everything you're turning a blind eye to.
Right.
And you see.
And you see
it's going on.
You at this point, you can't even ignore it. It's coming out at you in 50 million different ways now. You can't ignore this.
Which is one of the reasons, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. This is one of the reasons why when, white people approach me and they want to have a conversation about not just racism or stuff that we perceive as racism, when you see what's going on. And we've had discussion after the discussion explaining what's happening and why black people feel a way about what's happening. And you still, 17 conversations later, don't get it. You're not trying to get it. Your eyes are open. You see what the hell is going on, but
you just don't care.
Evidently, after every conversation we have, you go and you justify it within yourself. And so there's no reason for me to continue talking to you because you're going to be this way.
There you go. Now you have it.
I opt out.
So that's the poll question again. Should white people apologize for, and be held responsible for slavery? Let us know what you think in the comments below or on the Facebook page.
Right on.
Got anything else for me?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.